Maverick 100.9. You just heard the latest from Aggie Land artist and my friend John Stork. That was Somebody's Baby. We've got Mr. John Stork in with us for the first week of the new year. So happy new year to you, sir.
Happy New Year to you and to everyone listening. It's going to be a good one, I think.
I'm getting those feelings too. Do you have a reason? Because I don't. Mine is more like butterflies in the stomach, like when you're falling in love, like when you have a good feeling. Do
That
you have do
I,
you have a reason that leads you to believe it's going to be a good year for you?
I live on those feelings, Corliss. That right there, believe it or not, for most people, whether they listen to it or not, that's their problem. Um, Everything else, I just feel that it's going to be a good year.
So you are
One,
kind of on the same track as me. Like it was, and I felt it even before the new year. I just had this thing that was telling me, like, you're going to be okay. Like maybe even more than okay.
it's going to be great. And I know we've got some new music coming out. I'm picking through a stack of songs that I've got because I just kept on writing and writing. So
Yeah.
uh, there's all kinds of fun stuff. I'm out of the baby phase.
When we
She's
were talking about somebody's baby, I had to know, how is our little one doing?
He is over a year old now, and so it's starting to get a whole lot more fun. She's coming into her own personality. So that right there is already kind of opened up. We've been sleeping at night, so that's amazing. Um, but
Yay!
new music and a little bit of rest. So I'm ready to go knock it out of
Engines
the
are
park.
burning here. I love
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Well, tell me a little bit about the new single because you did release this before the new year, but I didn't get a chance to catch up with you and see what this one's all about.
This song came out literally just came out of conversation. Um, I was in Nashville working, writing, and this was my last sit down right before I left town to fly back to Houston, hop in the van, and leave again. And we were in, it fits the song. I didn't have anywhere to write. And so I went to the hotel that I had already checked out of and ended up renting a room by the hour. And the I had to convince the people at the hotel so hard, family
Yeah.
owned hotel, that nothing crazy or funny was going to be going on whatsoever. But we sat down, we wrote the song, and man, everybody, we all just kind of looked at each other after the initial kickoff, and one of the guys said, "If you want to be somebody's baby," and just getting everything going and sitting down and getting in place, one of the other guys said, "Why don't you come on and be mine?" And I looked at both of them and went, "All right, well, we're gonna write that."
Yeah.
And, so it just fell out, and we
I
were done.
love the
No,
quote easy songs. I know it's not easy, but those ones that come so naturally to writers tend to be our favorites. And I also love a good standard song where standards are the topic. I feel like it's something that not only can everyone relate to, but sometimes we need to be reminded of.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
we gotta hear it in our country songs to remember, like, that's right, I deserve to be loved like that. Like it's always been, well, I've told you that. Oh my gosh, speaking of writing songs out of conversation, this was years ago. I wasn't even with Maverick yet. I don't know if you'll remember this, but I told you the full in-depth story of how I got to the mindset that I needed to get a divorce back in 2014, 2015. And it was because of a very specific country song that kept telling me, you're never going to be happy this way. You do deserve more. And you were like, oh my God, I'm going to write that song. John, you may have accidentally wrote that song like 6 years, like 5, 6 years later.
Hey, it's never an accident. It's just not on my timing
Right.
whatsoever.
Exactly. How
No,
cool.
I love this song, and yeah, just having that standard, like
Yeah.
you're saying, and then having something that on top of that just opens up and is fun to play, and it's fun to play live, and to see people sing is always a great thing.
You may have already answered my next question because that was like, releasing a new song right before the new year so that it is the new year song. There's a lot of pressure behind actually making that decision. So I was going to say, why? Why this one out of all this music that you've been working on? But now I'm like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense.
You know, I wanted something fun for the first one. Um, we have a new single coming out on January the 12th, and it's in my opinion, I think the best song that I've ever written. Um,
Wow.
it's not so much fun as it is sentimental, um, and I would have to say another one of those that just kind of wrote itself, or that I wrote down more
Yeah.
so. And I wrote that with a good buddy, and I'm excited to see what the reaction is. It's called "Missing You Lately." Um,
Yeah.
it's it's not it's not too fun at all.
I love that though. I'm
And
not mad at you for that. I know everyone really, really, really like anybody who has been a John Stork fan for any amount of time knows that he's the funnest guy on earth. Whether you hear it in his songs on the radio or you go to one of his shows or even just meeting you, the fun part of you is very obvious. But I know the songwriter in you. I know the lover in you. I know how you love. I have spent time
yeah,
with you and your wife together. I know how you love your friends because I've been a friend of yours for years. So I think you just putting that out there for people is going to be the best thing you could do for John Stork because you really don't love John Stork until you know him, Like you got to know him because he's a lovable guy.
there's a lot of me. This was the first write that I ever cried in. Um, this is the yeah,
I
like
love how I'm excited.
this is real. This is the most broke down, vulnerable, just straightforward. It's a conversation, and it was another conversation about. I wrote this with Mark Nessler, who wrote "Just to See You Smile."
Oh
You look
yeah.
good in my shirt. But the idea sat in my phone for over 6 months.
Yeah.
Um, I was alone in my living room on my birthday, and I was hanging out with the dog. And the one person that I wanted to talk to, I couldn't talk to.
I know where you're going. Oh no, John, you're gonna kill me.
No, so I started crying then,
Yeah.
and I looked up and I started laughing. And I said, I just been missing you lately, and so I wrote it down, and it
Yes.
sat in my phone. And Mark Nessler had "Just to See You Smile" go number one when his dad was in a hospital bed about to pass away.
Mm-hmm.
And so he held Billboard charts over
Yes.
his dad
Yeah.
uh, in the hospital. And um, when I brought this up, and I wasn't planning on bringing it up,
Sure.
Mark we had written a song. I don't even know what song we wrote when I ended up talking to him about this idea, but we had written a song that day. I couldn't get a ride. I couldn't get an Uber or anything, and so he said, "Hey, let's go to town. I'll drop you off on my way, and we'll get to hang out a little bit more." So something in the back of my mind was just yelling at me. Ask him, tell him about the idea. Ask him if he wants to write this with you, and if I've learned anything, I can start songs, not a problem. But the best or my favorite ideas that I've ever had, I like to take or save for specific people that I think will help me bring out the best in the idea.
Yeah.
And I continue to write and note and whatever. Uh, but when I started telling him how the story came about or how the song came about, um, the story just, I guess, hit him right where I had no idea it would, and he started getting choked up, and his lady that was in the front seat, she started crying, and we got out of the truck when he finally stopped the vehicle, and he said, "Okay, I'll see you next month, and we're gonna write that song." So when I got back the next month and walked in, put my stuff down, I said, "Hey, what do you want to do today?" And he goes, "Oh no, we're writing that song."
We're
Uh,
crying today,
yeah.
buddy.
Oh man, and it was a real it was it was an
Can we
experience of a write.
can we talk about something and I can cut it and or I can just be I don't know.
You can leave it. I don't care.
Well, and you give to me whatever you want. Personally, I know exactly who you're talking about and who you wanted there on your birthday. I already know that.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, because I didn't know you just made me feel really like solidified in something that I've been doing and I thought I was crazy. I lost my dad last year, 22. In the year 2022. And here recently I have a note in my phone where I write down the things I wish I could tell him or
That's awesome.
questions I could ask. Like, so my dad owned every Stephen King book and he liked Dean Koontz too. He loved scary books. And I recently found out that Stephen King's son is a writer, and I don't get to ask him, did you ever happen to get any of um Stephen King's son's books? I never get to know the answer to that question. I was going through, well, this one, my connection to Steve Warner.
Yeah.
And after losing my dad, it was, oh, I couldn't listen. I still haven't been able to like go see a Steve Warner concert. But I got to interview Steve this year, and that was a really big moment for me. And when the email came in, I immediately picked up my phone to call my dad. Ugh. And
Ah.
your heart sinks. And then I didn't want to even do the interview because
Uh,
I'm like, if he's not here to hear it, what do I do?
I hear you.
Like, is it even worth it? Did I ever even want this, or was it dad? So, anyways,
Your
uh,
dad got you the interview, Corliss. We'll leave it at
my dad did something within his power, and then I did talk it out with Steve. Steve Warner let me pour my heart out to him and was actually very supportive. And he even told me, you come back to the shows when you're ready. I'm not offended. And then that inspired me to start listening to him again. And then I even took a deeper, like, search into him. I didn't realize that Steve Warner and Brad Paisley two of the greatest guitar players of all time. And that's why my dad loved Brad Paisley. They had a song together, and it was about the guy that gave them both a chance. And then both of them became one of, our favorite artists. And like, I don't know if he knew any of that.
Man, no, I love that.
I write them down now.
You
Things that I
that
wish I
is
could
a
ask.
great idea. Things I wish I could ask. When you talked about picking your phone up, there is actually a line in this song, "Missing You Lately,"
God, you're mean. It's
that
going
I
to be tough for me to listen to
that I
this.
put in there. It just says, "Sometimes I let it ring before reality sets in." Um,
So you've actually hit send
I called her.
before.
I don't know how many times I called her phone before they shut it off just to
Yeah.
listen to her voicemail.
I never even thought of that. I don't even know if dad had a voicemail message or if it was the auto one. The phone's gone. I never made it or haven't yet. You never know. Because you
Yeah,
do forget that they're
you,
not
you
there. You do.
and no, I mean, eventually you forget those little things,
Yeah.
uh, but not the important stuff. So
Yeah.
it's cool. I love the song. I have not played it out enough to say
Yeah.
that I'm not gonna have any moments
Yeah.
in the song. I can't tell you that that's not gonna happen. I've even disclaimed that to my guys.
Yeah.
And told them like, hey, if this happens, we'll go back to this part, and if this happens, we're just gonna. And they're like, you're
We
good,
got
you're good.
you. Like everybody's got
You
you.
mess up enough as it is, but like, yeah, this is a little bit different. But I played it, I don't know, a few weeks ago during December. We had a show, and I just did it acoustic, and my mom was sitting in the back of the room,
You can't do it with mom around, John. Ouch.
and
Your poor
yeah,
heart.
I said, hey, I wasn't planning on doing this tonight, and I didn't know my mom was going to be here. She hadn't even heard it. She hadn't heard the recorded version or anything. I hadn't showed my family, um, other than my sister's daughters.
So they have heard it.
They've heard it, and so I said, I told them, hey, I wrote this song about your mom, and yeah, that was that. I thought I was in a tough spot. I was like,
Right.
I got this. That was probably the biggest, like, you're a joke, man. You're
But
yeah,
you're not, you're a
you're
real
not even
person.
close to being tough.
Yeah.
So that was cool, but I got to play for my mom in front of my mom, um, at the show, and she wasn't the only one crying,
Yeah.
especially during the holidays. And looking back, I wish we would have gotten somebody's baby out a little bit sooner
Sure.
and released this one
Now.
close to the holidays,
Yeah.
because I know everybody out there has somebody that they're
Yeah.
missing, and if they say they don't, you're a liar.
Well, they're holding it in. And also, don't do that. That's one thing John and I could attest till till we hit the grave, man. Like, don't hold that in. When
No,
those weird little and they happen by surprise, just go. Just let it all go. And I can assure you, everyone else in the room is gonna know. They're gonna know.
absolutely. So I'm excited for that song.
I am too, even though I know we've just kind of pouted a little bit, but I'm really excited for that too.
Real.
Thank you for sharing. Like,
Absolutely.
I
No,
think I'm gonna have to replay this interview when that song comes out, because so that's coming to streaming services.
yep, on January the 12th.
Okay, great. And Somebody's Baby is the current single that we're now playing on Maverick, and everybody can stream that as well. If you don't hear it enough, go get it to yourself. I ain't selfish. Um, And we have talked about the stack of songs you've got. So I
Yeah.
do need to know, new full album. Are you ready to do that again?
I am I'm working on I'm actually picking those songs right now,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna release singles this year.
Okay.
Um, I've got 4 more after
Yes.
this next one coming in January. So every 2 months, there's gonna be a new single. So we'll wrap up the singles in November, and it'll be good.
But you
I'm
are on the track to go ahead and you're the king of albums. You
I
like you
I
were so good with Radio Cowboy, like the single, and I know that the music you're putting out now is 10 times what that album was, and that album was huge.
well, thank you. I'm excited for what we're working on next because I don't know if it'll be as conceptual as Radio Cowboy was.
Mhm.
Um, but I will say I'm writing stuff that I I really never even thought I would write. As far as ideas or lyrics or just directions. There's still some good Rocky Tonk fun on there, but the ideas are there, and I think that's the coolest and craziest part to me is it's really starting to open up, and I'm really having fun just getting to write some of this new stuff
Yeah.
that I listen back to it sometimes and go, "Oh, okay, this is gonna be good." But yeah, I play a couple of those songs that we haven't even put down yet at the live shows, depending on the show.
Mhm.
Uh, I think we're probably gonna cut that down to 1 or 2, maybe. But yeah, it's really cool. And when I send this stuff to my producer or any of the other guys that I write with, and to hear their reactions, like it's cool.
It
It's only
feels
gonna
good, doesn't
it
it?
feels really good, and it's only gonna keep getting better. Um, and there's still some of the old soul, you know, in me, and you can still hear some of that in the songs. Um, but just looking at things a little differently and writing with a few different people that have really made me kind of turn my head and look at the painting. Uh,
Mhm.
it really has opened up the songs and some of the stuff that we've been working on. So I'm excited. There is another album. It's not recorded yet,
But it
but I
is coming. You
I
know
am
I had to
literally,
bug you for
I'm
it.
literally picking the songs for it though. So I got you.
Good. You know, we always look at a new year like growth, but I know for a fact you did all your growing in 2023. And so instead of wishing you growth in the new year, I want to say congratulations on your growth last year. And I am so excited for everyone in 2024 to now hear that growth. Like I watched you do, we get to hear it now.
2023 was a lot of growth,
Mm-hmm.
uh, internally and externally,
Yeah.
as far as me and the family and the band and that family. A lot of changes.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to stay ahead, trying to keep things moving and not have that big gap ever again. I think is the biggest thing that I've been focused on, and just making sure that everything here is good and everything out there is just going to keep getting better. And if it's not better than what I've already done, then what are we doing? As
Right.
really the way I've looked at it and the way that I'm gonna keep looking at it.
Good.
And I think as far as it goes, I can't wait for everybody to hear these next 5 singles and the next batch of songs. And it's just gonna keep getting better.
Samesies. And to anyone else, if you're working on your, I do concert wish lists instead of New Year's resolutions. And if y'all don't have John Stork on your must see live list of 2024, man, John Stork, what is the website we need to check? Tour dates and merch. I haven't gone and looked at your merch in a while.
The merch was not a growing factor this year. But don't worry, I'm working on that right now. I've got the emails in my inbox. We're working on it. That took a back burner compared to everything else. But now that everything else is rocking, I'm not worried about the merch whatsoever. We'll get some ideas thrown together. We've got the new songs. We've got the new year. We've got new ideas already.
Yep.
But I didn't want to finish the year out by ordering I don't know, few
A
thousand.
bunch of product that now you need to move.
Yeah, now I got to pay taxes on, and so anyway, that was the real reason. Thanks to Uncle. Never mind.
Nope, I'm with you. I'm a business owner too, man. I get you.
So yeah, but we are at johnstork.com. It's just JONSTORK.com, and
Yeah.
that'll take you everywhere you need to go. That's about to get a little facelift for the next song, as well as all the socials are there, music, merch. Keep an eye on that because we do have merch happening. So we're going to be gearing up this month right now. We're just kind of taking some time to get some more stuff in order and get the content ready for the next 2 singles. So,
So follow, y'all. This is Aggie Land artist John Stork. And although he moved away from Aggie Land a bit ago, we love that you have grown with us here. And especially on Maverick, you and I have been together since the beginning. You and I started this journey together, and I will forever be your biggest fan. And I love you, and I'm excited for the new year. And I'm so glad we got to kick off the year together.
likewise, and thank you for not only your time now and since the beginning of this. You really did. You watched me from the first songs that I ever sang to now, and thank you for your friendship. It's been a lot of fun, and it's only getting better.
I know you
And
see me cheersing over here,
I know.
man. Like
Well,
I wish we were in
I just
person
had
and we could
coffee in mine,
cheers
but you
same.
know,
Oh yeah.
no, it's I'm excited. I don't think I've ever been this excited about what I've got to show people. I feel like half of it, I'm like, okay, well, what you can't hear it yet, and the other half, it's like, okay, can I let it go now? Uh, I feel like a little kid. It's awesome. So it's going to be one heck of a year. It's going to be a great couple years, honestly, with everything that we've got coming. Uh, the band is better than it's ever been. Everybody is just in a good spot, and I got to go in here and put this little girl down for a nap.
Yes, you do.